Welcome to this quick guide on mastering SQL queries and T-SQL. Today, we are diving into one of the most essential concepts in SQL Server that every data professional needs to master. Yes, that is join. If you have ever wondered how to bring data together from multiple tables to create powerful, insightful reports to run complex queries, then this video is for you. Joins allow us to relate data across tables by matching rows based on key columns. Whether you are dealing with customers' records, sales transactions, or any kind of data spread across multiple tables, understanding joins is crucial. In this episode, we will cover the first join type, that is inner join, and breaking it down with simple examples and real-time world scenarios. So let's get started. Before we go and discuss joins in detail, let me show you one example. We know that we have already created these tables in our previous episodes. There is a table called made master and made flat link tables. And if I am querying this data of these two tables, you can see the data coming in here. And the made master contains the made details like the made ID and name of the maid and sex of the male and then experience, active, and what date she joined or he joined. And likewise, we have made flat link table which talks about which maid is working in which plate. So I can get data from both of these tables, but I have a different requirement. My requirement is I want a data set, a result set, which will combine some data from this and some from this. Means maybe one field from this table and the other field from this table. So this is not possible just by writing two different SQL queries. So what we need is we need to introduce some relation, some queries we need to write in such a way which will actually get data from this and this. So my requirement is let me go and show which maid, what is the name of the maid and in which flat that maid works in. Like say this is Shushmita and Shushmita works in which flat that I want to. So the name of the flat and at the front of the name of the flat, I want to display the maid's name. And here is the concept of join comes in. So if I have written this query and just focus on the result set, not on query right now. So you see that flat number A001, Shushmita working, A002, this Vanita is working, and likewise A003, and likewise this all details. So this query, this answer could have not been possible if we could not have done something called joins here. So let me go and discuss what joins are in theory. So if you want to define join in SQL Server is it is used to combine rows from two or more tables. So we have seen one example, the example which I showed you a moment back. So in that example, we have seen that I am retrieving data from more than one table and I am relating those two tables together. And this is what we call it as join. So let's say this is the made master table, which has all made masters detail. So the made ID, made name, sex, experience is active and date join. And we have another table called made flat link table, which is having that which maid is working in which flat. But the made flat link table doesn't have the maid's name. The maid's name are sitting in made master table. And I want a result set like this, that the flat name should come from made flat link and the name of the maid should come from made master table. So this is simply not possible. And what we can do is that we can join these two tables together and we can get the answer. So you see here, what I'm trying to do is I'm selecting from both the tables, select flat number, maid name from maid master, and this is an alias here. And you already know the alias, and made flat link, that is MFL. And then I am joining these by inner join. There is something called inner join. So joins are of different types. This is the first type that is called is that inner join. And here I'm giving the relation of these both table on something called made ID. So made ID is something which is available in both. Here is also the made ID, and here also we have made ID. So I am going to join these two tables based on this made ID, and I am pulling the columns of my interest. Make sense? So this is how join works. We have different types of joins. We have inner join, left outer join, or left join, right outer join, or right join, full join, or full outer join. We have cross join, and we have self join. In this episode, I'm going to focus only on inner join, and likewise in coming episodes we would be covering all the joins one by one. Talking about inner join, an inner join returns records that have matching values in both the tables. It selects only the rows that satisfy both the conditions, like so only it will return only the rows which are available in both the tables, right? The matching records, and those which are not matching it will not return. So inner join between two tables, and table 1 if matches with table 2 data, then the result set is produced. If there is no match, it is excluded. Alright, so there are a couple of examples of use cases of inner join. The first use case is we have orders table and we have customers table. There are two tables. So you see this is a customer table. The customer table has got customer ID, customer name, address, and phone number and stuff like those. And we have order table which has got order ID, order amount, order date, order details, customer ID, and salesman ID. So what happens? I want to print the details from both of these, extracting from both of the tables. What I want that who is the customer, bought what, and of what amount. So that is not possible from getting from one table. Customer table has the customer name but doesn't have what order is. Order table has order details but doesn't have customer name. So eventually I have to correlate both these tables. I have to join these tables. So what I'll get, I want a result set like this, that order ID, order details, customer name, and order date. So this is a meaningful data that I have, that this guy having order ID and he bought winter night suit Jack Terry and he bought on this particular date. And we can also display order amount as well. Make sense? So let's see these things in action. So I'm in SQL Server Management Studio and I am going to create two tables, and these two will to show you the demo. These two tables got created, got dropped first. Let me create the customer table. The customer table gets created. Let me create orders table. Orders table gets created, and then finally let me insert some data into both customer and orders. So I'm inserting 5 customer data, and then I am inserting 5 orders data. Data all for customer and orders have been inserted. Let's see the data here. So we can see the data here. This is customer ID 1001, Jack Terry, street number this, and the phone number, and likewise this order amount. Now I want to put a join between these two, okay, in order to get the expected result. So how can I do that? So I'm telling select O is an alias, so orders I am getting it as an instead of writing full orders dot, I am simply writing O. This is an alias name. I like for customer we have a C. So order ID, order details, order date, and even I can also say O dot order amount, right? So these things I'm going to get from orders O, and I'm inner joining to both. So all matching records will be on customer, and customer ID is the one which is available in both. So this way I'm going to join this. So let's go and execute this. You can see here that the order ID, order details, Jack Terry bought these on this particular date, and this was the amount he bought it. Correct? So this way I can introduce join in order to get details from more than one table. Talking about the second real-time example. The second real-time example is employee and department. There are two tables. One is employee and the other is department. Department table is a separate table which contains department ID and department name. An employee table is separate, which is having employee ID, employee name, designation, and salary. Make sense? So what is my expectation? My expectation is I want to display the name of the employee along with his department or her department name. So you see here, this employee table has department ID but not the name. And department table has all department details but not the employee details. So how can we do? This is possible when we join both these tables. So there is one thing that is common between these two tables is department ID. So I can put a join on department ID so that I would be able to extract data from employee and department both. And here is the outcome that I want to see. Make sense? So let's go and see this in action. So here are the tables. I'm dropping the tables if they are already created. So tables have been dropped. Let me create the employee table for you. Employee table has been created, and so as department table has been created. I'm inserting some data into department. You see that department 101 for IT, HR, admin and all. And then I'm entering data for employee table as well. Data has been inserted. You can see the result set here. The results are here. This is employee table. Employee 1001, Jack Teddy, senior associate 50,000, department ID 101. But my expectation is to show the employee name along with his department name. So for that, what should we do? Let's go and create a join. So I'll create a join called select e.employee. E is an alias of employee. So it is coming from employee table, employee name, and d.department name. D is the alias for department. And I'm telling inner join on e.department ID equals d.department. D is the department or department ID, right? And here is the result for you. So you see that Jack Teddy works for IT department. Sumit Agarwal works for IT as well. Nina Joseph works for HR. And Aman Mukhija works for finance. So this way you can get the record data from more than one tables. And we also have seen partially how to write inner join. Let's go into the details. So this is an example where I am getting details from both the tables, department and employee, and I am joining here. So what are the parts of a join? So a join will have at least two tables. So we have two tables, that is employee is table 1 and table 2 is department. And you know that we have created, these are aliases, employee E, department D. And one more thing is important is that condition. So where on which field that you are going to put the condition on. So employee table also contains department ID and department table also has the department ID, and I'm going to put condition on this, right? So this is the simplest way you can write an inner join. So the way to write is, there are a couple of things, two tables, inner join is a keyword, and then there is a condition. Make sense? I think it is now pretty much clear to you how to write an inner join. As we now know that how to write inner join, we can also put something called where clause in inner join, right? So I'm going to get customer ID, customer details, and order details, order amount from customers table, and I'm inner joining to orders table. And if you are doing up to this much, you have joined all the records. But above all, what I want to do, above these two conditions, I want to give that it should only display only those records which are having order amount more than 30,000. So there are at least 1, 2, and 2 records which are having more than 30,000. So if I'm going and selecting, then you see that there are 2 records. If you can also write equals to, and then there would be 3 records, it seems, right? Make sense? I hope the concept of joins which I have discussed is pretty much clear to you. You also now are completely aware of how to write inner join and why do we need inner join and how can we write where clause on the inner join. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more high quality technical content. Drop your questions in comment and I will be happy to answer them. See you in the next one. Bye bye.